unusual space. You know, it's change is difficult. We'll figure this one out. I'm not your normal MC. Usually David Bloom is doing that. So try to make you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, turn around. Okay.
So
You are?
I am Wes Hofstetter. Many of you may know me. I work in the Tech Transfer Office. We're also a sponsor of A2NewTech. There's several organizers as well. Roger here in front, Amy Klinking, Paul Kirsch, who should have reserved this room, which I've been texting him back and forth. He's trying to figure out what happened. As well as Doug Song, who's not here, and David Bloom, who's not here. Doug is off presenting at a conference in San Francisco. So without further ado, we'll start with the first presentation. Matt Piccinato is with Had That Beer.
Hi everyone. As I said, my name is Matt Piccinato, and I'm going to share with you everybody a little side project I've been working on, which is a beer checklist application called Had That Beer. So first thing is, what does it do? Well, it lets you keep track of the beers you've had. So you know, you can do like tasting notes, rate the beers. It's kind of just like a beer journal, a beer log that you'd keep. You can share the experience with your friends, and through that it'll help you discover new beers to try. This is a screenshot. There's a mobile web app and a full website behind it. You can create a profile. You can create a wish list for beers that you want to try in the future. You can mark beers as favorites, and it all shows up. All the beers that you've consumed and had shows up on your profile for your friends to check out. You can also add comments to the beers they've had, and you know, give them a little cheers. This is a quick example of what it looks like to have a beer. The rating system is pretty simple. You rate it like a 1 through 4, whether you pretty much didn't like the beer or you thought it was awesome. You can add your tasting notes. You can choose which vessel it was in, if it was a pint glass, or you had it on bottle, or you had it on draft in some other glass. And if it was a vintage beer, you can mark it that it was from a different year. It also integrates with Foursquare to use their location information. So if you were at a bar, say at Blarney Stone, and you wanted to attach the head there, you can go ahead and do that. There's a future plan to integrate it where you can actually check in to Foursquare at the same time. The technology behind it is PHP plus CodeIgniter MVC. It uses MongoDB as its backend database, which is a NoSQL technology. Doesn't have any relational database behind it right now. That's hosted at mongohq.com. And for the mobile web app, it uses jQuery Mobile. I chose that one because it made sense to be able to use it across Android, iPhone, and BlackBerry, and it had pretty good support for those at the time when I started working on it. It's hosted at a platform as a service company called .cloud. It's pretty easy to get set up. I recommend checking them out. And it uses Cloudflare to help speed up some of the requests where it auto-minifies my JSON or JavaScript and CSS files. With that, we'll take a quick demo of the mobile app. Load it up on the iPhone simulator. So take just a quick look at, so say you're out at the bar and you wanted to check into a beer that you've had. So let's say I had an Oberon. You can search for the Oberon. You can either tap on it to go take a look at the details of it. You can see if you put in your wish list or if you favorited it, how many times you've had it, and you can go to the last time you rated it. So last time I had it was at Cliff Bell's about a month ago, and I thought it was good. Other people can come in and cheers it, like I do cheers myself. I'm lonely, but it works. Or, you know, I could add comments if I wanted to add additional notes or someone else wanted to comment on that. But say I wanted to say I had it, it pulls it up. Since the simulator doesn't have GPS on it, I can't find where I'm at right now, but I could rate it with a 1 through 4 with the beer glasses, add some notes. Get done. And it'll say cheers, you just had a Oberon and you thought it was awesome. and then it's off back into your profile, and then all your friends can see it and check it out and cheers it or comment on it. And so that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay, so this is the Q&A portion. So the first question is, do you plan to make money off this?
So I've thought about different ways to monetize it. It really isn't on my priority list right now, but it's a thought of doing things with breweries and bars and allowing them to reach out to customers that are on the system, doing promotions and that sort of thing.
And is the data populated by users, or do you expect the breweries to try to populate it as well?
I did an initial import of about 4,000 beers, and then the rest from there it's user populated.
Okay. Questions from the audience?
Might be tangential. Do you know if anybody's working on a breathalyzer attaching for like iPhone?
That would be something to pair with this.
Totally right. I'm two over on Steve, and this is what mind blow.
That would be a good feature.
And then you can partner with the cops and Alcoholics Anonymous to just find people who they try.
Here's meeting.
Yes.
Did you use any tools for prototyping your UI?
For the mobile part, no. Most of that came out of just CSS. Just playing around with that. jQuery mobile out of the box has a lot of good style sheets to use, so I just used most of those and changed their colors. Question?
Is it just you at this point?
Yes, it is just me.
Are you interested in partners or?
I would love to have someone else help work on this. So I am always interested in talking to someone.
Work on it in what sense?
Either help promote it, talk to breweries and bars and get them interested in it, or developers, designers, that sort of thing.
Have you thought of partnering with beermenus.com? Have you heard of that website?
Yeah, I've seen it. Unfortunately, I'm very bad at reaching out and connecting with other sites and doing this sort of integration, and that's part of the issue of being the only person working on this, is that I'd love to have some help reaching out to those other products and making some sort of integration.
Yeah, I want to know, do you have any desire to someday branch it out beyond beer?
I wrote the backend so that it could be. I mean, beer is just a word in a setting, so it could be changed to wine, it could be changed to spaghetti, it could be changed to playgrounds you enjoy being at. So,
Might have to change the big glasses.
yeah, the graphics would have to change.
What kinds of finances and other things do you need to have input into your company to have this actually come to fruition?
So that's a good question. I haven't really thought about taking it to be something that I would do full time, and something that I haven't really looked at what kind of financials I would need it to do that. It's in a private beta right now, so anyone in here can go and sign up and log in and use it. It has about 600 users right now. And as I flesh out the bugs and everything, I get closer to thinking about that sort of thing.
What about the app? Can you do the app yet?
Well, it's a mobile web app, and so you can use it on iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry through the browser. It's not in the App Store yet, in iPhone or Android marketplace.
Have you thought of for your open beta using a small charge associated with it?
No, one of the things that I really want to keep with this is that it's free for everyone to use, no matter what. There might be premium membership options later on, but I want to keep it simple and open to everyone.
People tip their bartenders $1 usually after they get drinks. It'd be an interesting way just to get micropayments off, but just as big as that. Like, just keep it thematic. Why you're paying $1.
That's a good idea.
Any other questions?
So how does one get in contact?
I'll give you a card. Or you could go to Had That Beer or email me. I didn't put my email up here, but you could email me, Matt, at Had That Beer, or just follow me on Twitter and shoot me a message.
When's the line version coming out?
I don't know. Soon.
Any other questions?
Have you thought about starting to make
Yeah, so one of the other features I want to add is recommendations. The more you check out beers, the more we can recommend and say, hey, these ones are similar, check these out. And another feature that I want to add, similar to that, is more people check in or have beers with locations. I can tell you where other beers are at.
Last question?
When did this idea spark? How long have you done this project?
So I started it last year in October. Yeah, October of last year, and it took me probably a good 6 to 7 months to get it to an open beta point where I wanted to show it and share it with people so that it had the mobile site and the full site behind it.
Do you have any ideas partnering with beer companies like bars,
Um,
the app making it together?
I really haven't thought about that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Kevin, right next. And while he's getting that ready, I want to make sure that I thank our sponsor for this evening, or for this, actually the fall series, which is Stafford Baker. So Matt was here, right? Matt's back there. Thank you very much. StaffordBaker.com, and the Twitter account is actually yours, right, Matthew Bauer? Yeah. All right. So go ahead and check them out. They have an office at the Tech Brewery, and so we thank them. We also thank BiznomU for the name tags. It's bizdom, I believe, .com, and Twitter sign at bizdom. And other information coming up is Great Lakes Entrepreneurs Quest registration is just around the corner. Deadline is Friday, October 21st. For those of you who don't know, it's a business plan competition statewide. It's at 5 p.m. on October 21st is deadline. You don't need to have all your documents. Your executive summary will be due on December 9th. But you don't need to have that. You can just go and sign up. So, sure. Without further ado, Kevin Krason with Traction.
Hi guys, my name is Kevin Krason, serial entrepreneur, computer hack, that's about it. About 17 years ago I started an internet company called BizNet, and I'm still doing that. So it pays the bills and I get to play, so what else would I do? Today I'm going to talk to you about Traction, which coincidentally, Trevor Fitzgerald over here is actually the lead architect, and he's going to present after me his new offering, which is kind of cool. But Matt used to work for me too. And then Tyler's sitting back there hiding too. So I actually have 3 guys here who used to work for me who are now doing their own gigs. So I don't know if that's flattering or not, but I thought it was pretty cool. So Traction is lead tracking for everyone. So the old dilemma, age-old dilemma is that 50% of my advertising money is wasted. The problem is I don't know which 50%. The sad part is that this is still true today, especially when you talk to different businesses and you ask them, well, how did you get that customer? So what's the solution? Well, if you could track the origin of every phone call, every website visitor, figure out exactly what's driving them, then ultimately you can figure out where you should be spending your money in advertising. So advertising is necessary. Everybody's got to do it in some, I mean, unless your business is completely referral based, which is good for you. I'm getting there myself, but good for you. The average business spends about 10% of their gross revenue on advertising. The target for Traction is actually small businesses, so local businesses. There's about 5 million of them just in the United States alone. These companies use all kinds of marketing channels, so whether it be TV, radio, direct mail, etc. And even big businesses don't really know where their customers are coming from, which channels are working best. So Traction tracks phone calls. It provides the users with local or toll-free phone numbers that they can use throughout any of their different advertising media, so Yellow Pages, TV, etc., just to name a handful. You can get QR codes as well, so if you want to put a QR code on a brochure or some direct mail or something like that. You can also get tracking URLs and stuff like that. So the system's pretty simple. The call's recorded, the information, the caller ID information is recorded. The origin of the call is pinpointed on a map, and then the call can be routed to whatever phone number is desired. there is a kind of drag and drop form type of feature, so you can add the tracking form to any current website very easily. You can also, if you're not technically savvy, simply link to a form that is hosted on the Traction server. Future plans are to integrate some ROI calculators so you can actually see which of your advertising results are generating leads and what it's costing. Campaign nesting, so you can group a bunch of campaigns together. So, for example, if you want to know how a billboard and radio and website program did together, and then isolate different elements of that campaign to see what really truly produces results, you'll be able to do that. We'll be able to track more specifically some of the things that are coming from the sponsored search vehicles, Google and Yahoo, and integration with popular CRM systems like Salesforce and stuff like that. Go-to-market strategy is pretty simple. Actually, I say it's pretty simple, but it's really word of mouth when you think about it. We found that the fastest adoption is with the advertising and marketing professionals because they're all trying to track this kind of stuff for the customers who can't do it. So if I can figure out how to get a web browser up here real quick, we'll just do a very quick login and give you a tour. The funny thing is, Trevor, we're using your login. See if I know the password again helps, right? So this is actually a live customer that we're using this for. It's part of, so Traction is actually part of a bigger business initiative, but Traction is the software behind it that provides the value for a more popular marketing initiative, which is more of a turnkey digital marketing solution. But Traction is the accountability engine behind that. So I could show you, this is an example of a phone number that's being tracked from a website. So all the marketing efforts are driving through this website, and you can see the incoming phone calls charted over time. You can adjust the time range, anything you want. It will automatically size the map to cover the area where your calls are originating from. As you can see, this is a local marketing initiative, so if you drill in here, you can actually see where the calls originated from. As you scroll down a little bit further here, and I don't know if we have audio or not, but if we do, this is a live example. Maybe not, huh? All right, so we don't have speakers, otherwise you would hear the actual conversation that occurred between the customer service rep at Expert Heating and Cooling and the person who found the phone number through our web marketing initiatives. So that's it. You can see a little, here's how it tracks web forms. I was fascinated to find out that in the local space, the number of people who pick up the phone versus submit online was like 40 to 1. So for all those people who've been accountable for their website traffic and generating leads that didn't have call tracking, shame on you, because I found out what it really comes down to. So, that's it.
All right, questions?
So I'm trying to figure out how the small businesses capture this data. Is there hardware implementation?
No, no. It's strictly you go to Traction, you sign up for an account, and you download as many phone numbers as you need, and you tell them where to route them. It's all done dynamically. I guess I didn't really talk anything about the technology. I don't know. I didn't really plan for that, but I could do that too.
That's part of my question too. If you're trying to evaluate an ad campaign, how do you know what aspect of what campaign generated the call?
Well, you don't necessarily know that, okay, but you do know how one campaign compared against others. And so you can track all the different campaigns, see which one's working, which one isn't.
Maybe it's time-based, so if it's
Correct.
within a certain
Correct.
period, must be that
Yeah.
campaign.
Exactly, yeah. And everyone can have a different tracking code too, so.
So is your primary input to your analytics phone numbers, or are you aggregating other things such as email?
So primarily it is phone numbers because we are targeting the local small business. We also track QR codes and URLs as input.
Who do you see as your main competition?
Well, it's interesting because there are companies such as a company called CallSource or couple other guys that are major national telephony players. They don't really have a small business offering or the ability to go to market at that level. They typically work with larger ad agencies and they don't really have an offering in this space. Any other questions?
How is the service priced?
The service is priced very affordably, actually. The entry-level price is $39 a month. Includes a local or toll-free phone number, 250 toll-free minutes, or 750 local minutes. So, and then there's a la carte options and package options from there.
Any partnering or reseller strategy?
We have been actually going to market that way. So we have been working with advertising and marketing agencies and professionals to go to market that way. It's actually, the real go-to-market strategy is the other product which sits on top of this, which is more of a marketing service offering. Questions? All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And while Trevor gets set up, I'll tell you that the
Trevor.
Accelerate Michigan, accelerate.michigan.org, the student competition. I think there's probably some students in the room. This is the first week of school, the first one here on campus of the new school year. Is September 30th, so September 30th for the Accelerate Michigan. Also, they have opportunities for exhibiting companies during their November 16th through 17th event when the competition winners are going through and being judged by VCs. They're creating an opportunity for local companies to exhibit. You can get more information at accelerate.michigan.org.
It's warming up, it's there.
And while he gets that adjusted, one more is Entrepreneurship Hour. Tony Fidel of Apple and iPod fame is speaking this Friday at Stamps Auditorium, which is in the Walgreens Drama Center on North Campus, which is that way. So those of you interested can
Was
do
that 3 o'clock or?
That's at 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
2 to 3. And that's at Stamps Auditorium, the large auditorium right next to the bell tower. All right, without further ado, we'll do Ignite with Trevor Fitzgerald.
All right, thanks. So I've been working on Ignite pages for a little while, and I'll go over real briefly what it does. Basically, it's a tool for real estate agents to create a simple one-page kind of website to showcase each of their properties. And I let them, they can go through like a wizard process and specify all the property details and upload images, and basically specify, like, they can customize how they want it to look, and hit publish, and they get a little website. They can even give it a custom domain name, and I let them easily push it out to each of their social networks, so I help with promotion as well. Now the development's been done for a little while, so a couple months now, and I've been working on the marketing lately. And one of the things that I've found has been that the agents are really well networked. So like when they push it out to their Facebook and LinkedIn networks, they're friends or contacts with other agents in the area. So I wanted to find a way maybe I could capitalize on those kind of interpersonal relationships between the two. And actually last week I started working on a new project that I like the idea so well that I turned it into a new project and kind of spun it off into its own. And I launched it yesterday, and it's called Crowd Squared. So what the purpose of this is, let's say you've got some digital content on your website that you want to distribute, and you have a customer come to your website. Now, in order to get you the content, she has to then share it with her network, or it's suggested that she share it with her network. So, and then 3 of her friends see it, and then in order to get it, they have to share it with their friends. And the cycle just repeats until you get a lot more visitors. So I've experimented with that a little bit, and I'm going to give you a quick little demo to see it in action. Now this is a site, Tyler is an author, and he's released a book Now this is a live site. The book's called Awesomely Average. Now he released the first chapter for free as like a kind of a teaser to get people interested, but he wants that to also kind of generate some more traffic to his site. So it's still a download book button here. What it does is it gives you a little pop-up here that encourages you to share it or tweet it out. So when I do that, let's say I just got Awesomely Average for free, I tweet it out to my friends, and now I'm presented with the download link where I could go and view the PDF. So it just really creates some viral kind of traffic there is the intent. I can give you a kind of a quick little demo too of how it works. Crowd squared. So I'm going to go to create a campaign. Just kind of enter our name and info and whatever we want the campaign to be. Let's say I want to promote my my ebook. I sell it on my site. I can also specify which networks I want to be visible on, as well as kind of customize the buttons. And then I generate some code that you can just kind of embed on your site. So it's really easy to integrate, and it kind of creates a nice way to offer content for free. So that's it.
All right, thank you.
Is there a question?
Yeah, let's open up for questions.
Do you keep people from sharing that if they get to the end?
No, I don't. So theoretically somebody could, but I guess by then they may have already shared it.
Any other questions?
Is that free right now?
It is, yep. So there's a free plan you can go and create your own campaign. There's a pro option too, with some more statistic and analytics features behind it.
Just to make sure I'm clear on this, you want people to share content first before seeing the product?
Yeah, so that's the purpose now. So they can. There's also the option that I've added recently to skip or bypass that requirement, although it is encouraged more to share it. And I think that's not asking too much because depending on the offer, the customer may see value from it. So if they're getting something for free, maybe the least they can do is tweet it out.
Maybe an interesting thought around this. A couple months ago, I was in California and I was just tired of hearing my friends out there like not tell me about their ideas until we signed an NDA, whole NDA thing. And I got pissed off and we drafted this thing called the Assured Disclosure Agreement, which is a document where before you can tell you my idea, you need to promise that you'll tell like 10 other people. Maybe fun to just play with it. Because a lot of times ideas like this too, for them to be interesting, it's how you present it. Like it's the story, the narrative, the story. And so something like that. Like sometimes when I hit those sites that make me share with my friends, I'm just like, yeah, get that, and like leave. But if it has sometimes just a little twist of like what it's about, it makes it even fun. People that see your message coming, you know, that you're tweeting something to Twitter, look, if it's laid out with the right language and stuff, it makes everybody smile rather than feel, you know, like you're getting spammed. So just maybe an interesting thing to think about.
No, that's great. I mean,
It
everything's.
almost, to me, feels like a check-in on the internet, like where I've been, like a Foursquare for content.
No, that's a good way of looking at it.
For the power users of your real estate product, how are you getting the larger agents who have dozens of listings and would be your power users paying the higher fee? How are you getting them to upload photos and all that data and not coming back and telling you, no, I don't want to do that. I want you to automate that with the MLS data exchange. Pull that up for me automatically.
Right. I've looked into like automatically pulling in the MLS information, and the system is kind of convoluted in that each region has its own like system and database and things like that. So it'd be quite a challenge to
Did
do
you
that.
research that part before you went and designed what you designed?
No, mostly because when I first started, I didn't intend on targeting just real estate agents. I wanted it to be kind of like, okay, you want to sell a couch on Craigslist, you can go and create, a simple little landing page for it, and create a pretty looking ad that you then send out to your friends. But it just kind of evolved from there.
Any other questions?
There's a site like Trulia, right, where real estate agents can list properties. I don't know how that works, but if I were shopping for a home, I'd go to a site like that where I could see everything as
Sure.
opposed to just one.
That's, as a consumer, that's probably what you'll do. But as a real estate agent, a site like Trulia, it's going to show competing properties and even competing properties from other real estate agents. So using Unite Pages, you're sending them to a website where you're featuring just yours. And like Trulia and Zillow even have banner ads that could detract from your content.
Then really your market is the for sale by owner.
Okay, yeah. Well, because the product is subscription based, I want somebody who's going to continue using it. If I targeted for sale by owners, they're only going to want to buy like a one credit kind of thing.
So that's the corner that you painted yourself into without further. I don't need to hard on you. That's the reality of it.
Right. Well, I wanted to target the people who would continue to pay for it and use it. Rob?
With the initial version, you had focused mainly on Craigslist. Is this also a platform where realtors can post it to their own website, or is it still largely Craigslist focused?
They can use it. There's also like a Craigslist. They give them HTML code that they can embed right in the body of Craigslist. So you go from a bland-looking Craigslist ad to something very well designed that you then flip through to the full featured page as well.
All right, that was the last question. Thank you very much, Trevor. Got 2 demos for the price of 1. All right. All right, and while she's getting ready, I want to remind people that TEDx Detroit is September 28th. It's Wednesday. It's at Orchestra Hall at the Max M. Fisher Music Center in Detroit from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's TEDxDetroit.com. Hurry up and register if you haven't. Quickly, now. You've got computers in front of you. Also, BioArmor is on the October 20th from 5 to 7 is covering patent changes in the patent law. May be interesting. Typically, this crowd not necessarily goes to BioArmor, but this may be interesting to you guys as well. One of the general counsel from the university's transfer office, Rick Brennan, should be there as well and answer some questions and talk about some of the things you may or may not know about patent form. And you are ready to go. So without further ado, Melissa Bugai of Booker.
Thank you. Hello. It's good to be back in Ann Arbor. I grew up in Heartland. How many people know where Heartland is? Good. More people than that know of Grand Rapids, because nobody there knows. So I just came out of the incubator program in Grand Rapids called Momentum. This is my product. It's called Booker. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about first. We all say, how are you doing? And it's like, oh, I'm so busy. We're all very busy these days, and we get into these games as adults that we call phone tag, and a game I like to call Go Fish Calendar Edition. You help your buddy move into a new apartment. You slog down up and down 3 flights of stairs. All day you're very tired, very sore. And you say, man, I could really use a massage. So you call your massage therapist, you leave a message. She calls you back while you're in your meeting. You call her back, and then you finally get in touch with each other. And then you have to play Go Fish Calendar Edition. 2 o'clock on Friday, go fish. 3 o'clock on Thursday, maybe. 2 o'clock on Tuesday, bingo, we have a winner. It's a miserable process, and it usually impedes us from getting off our couch and going out and participating in cool activity. So that's when we built Booker. So all I have are some demos today, so I might be a little different than the rest of the crowd, but this is what it looks like. Here you book a neck and shoulder rub. You pick a time and date that works for you. There's no negotiating or go fish. Just like you would on the phone, you say, what your name is and how to reach you. It's nothing more complex, and now your appointment is scheduled. You're done. You could do it from a business meeting. You could do it while you're running an errand, and it suddenly strikes you that, oh yeah, I need to make that haircut, or I really need to get into the doctor's office. Similarly, if you have to cancel an appointment, it's not any different than going to your email box and you click the link to come here, or you can look up your information on the go. And once you find your account, then you can just jump in and say, yep, that was my appointment. Nope, I'm not going to make it. And you're done. You could have done it from a long-running office meeting at work. Wonderful, quick, and easy, and allows the business to then be able to rebook that appointment and not lose money. So let's talk about it a little bit from the business side. If you think it's miserable for you to play phone tag, you should see what it's like when they're doing it 20 times a day, 6 days a week. It's miserable for them, and it's great to avoid it. So for them, they come in to set up the booker. All they have to do is set up their services. This is sort of like their menu of what they offer. So here we're going to create the new one, the neck and shoulder rub that you just saw. We give it a name, say how long it lasts. The capacity is how many people we serve at one time. A price. Choose an image to make your customers easy to identify the service, and we're done. Now we can rearrange it so that we can make sure it is in the right order of cost or value. And just like that, it's available to be booked. Now similarly, they're also going to have to measure out when they're available. Here you can see to upgrade. There's a, well, maybe you can't see it, but I just have one calendar on this account. It's the small account level. And I can set up my custom hours, and I can choose what services that particular calendar, either facility or staff member, offer. And that's all there is to measuring the calendar, or taking care of the calendar. So it's very low barrier to entry. A small business owner doesn't have to have a huge technology background or anything complicated to get in their way. So that's what the product looks like right now. We have some new features that are coming out, some things we're really excited about, like user accounts. So you as a user would have an account that allows you to log in, see your history, see when the last time you got done, whatever it was. It also allows you to say, like, man, I really want to get into the chiropractor at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Put yourself on a waiting list. If that guy cancels, you can have the appointment. It's also great for businesses when we do that because their calendar stays full. They don't have to worry about those big cancellation gaps in their day when they're losing money. It stays nice and full. Payment collection is something we've heard because therapists are like, hey, it's really awkward at the end of that 1 hour session when I look at my patient and say, and about payment, will that be credit or check? That's not a very nice way to wrap up an end of a session. So they're looking for online payment. It also makes it easy for, like, mom who's running in, getting her hair done, and running back out. She doesn't have to worry about fumbling around in her purse. She comes in, she gets her service, she leaves. It's wonderful. So it's something we're really looking forward to integrating. We're also looking forward to integrating with group deal sites. These are very popular these days, but they have a dynamic issue in the fact that if the business gets overwhelmed with appointments, they're never going to run another Groupon or seize the deal or whatever. On the other hand, if you buy a bunch of group deals and then you never redeem them, their business also dries up because they have nobody buying. So when Booker comes in and facilitates the coordination of appointment, the business doesn't get overwhelmed and the customers are quickly and easily redeeming their service. So that's one other area we're looking at. We already have one company we're talking to for that. So we do sell to the business. It is a subscription. Allows them, kind of like what they would pay for a receptionist, except for the fact that it's a lot less. So that's where we are now and where we're going. We have some beta users right now. We're looking for maybe 1 or 2 more beta users to come on board and give us some more feedback, maybe in some areas we haven't experimented with yet. We're also looking for a new graphic designer to join the team. We've obviously had some great graphic design behind us, but we're looking for somebody to help move us forward. And that's all there is.
All right, thank you. So the first question is going to be mine.
Go for it.
Have you thought about doing the customer loyalty and rewards side of this, where now the user, since you've given them the email address, can now send newsletters or mailers or coupons or something special for existing customers?
So we have a beautiful and long roadmap. His question, you have a microphone.
I do have a
Everybody heard
microphone.
that, right?
I know what you mean.
So his question was about valued customers or long-term customers, and we have a big roadmap ahead for that. So one of the things that comes with user accounts is also knowing who's frequented the business the most. The waiting list, actually, you guys probably don't want to know this, but If you are a more loyal customer than somebody else, you get better treatment when you make an appointment. If, like, a hairstylist suddenly has to go to a funeral, the people that she calls back first to reschedule the appointment to get the prime open slots are the people who have tipped her the best and been the most loyal to her. And so similarly, we're going to have a mechanism for that on the back end with user accounts, where when a opening shows up, the priority goes to the more loyal customer, or if the business chooses a different method. And so we're going to have mechanisms like that, and we are going to be integrating hopefully with MailChimp, but those are on our longer term goals so that they can send out newsletters and other things to loyal customers. We also look forward to reports, which is another big thing. Small business owners, people who open yoga studios and hairstyles, don't have MBAs, and they're not real good about distributing their user base or their customers. So they might get really, really busy on Thursdays, and they don't think to try and help shift some of those people to like Tuesdays so that they can get new appointments in on Thursdays. And so having reports to help them understand where their customer flow is big and helpful. In the back.
So the booking part sounds really useful. Have you thought about having kind of the open table kind of thing where people can find the providers by looking through the list of people provide inside of the website?
Yeah, so the question was, have we thought about using Booker more like an open table where you can find a business to go to through Booker? And the question is absolutely. We're excited about that avenue, and it will open when we go to our public launch. So you can say like, man, I want a haircut at 6 o'clock on Thursday, and I don't care who it's from. And we can send you to somebody who's got an opening at that point in time.
Have you thought about a mobile app?
Yes. Long-term plan. The question was, have we thought about a mobile app? And yes, absolutely, all the good features you see. We'll probably do a mobile-ready site first, and then go to a mobile app on multiple platforms. Probably iPhone first, Android second, and then it'll be a battle to see if Windows 7 or BlackBerry comes out on top.
It seems like a lot of your potential clients would already have a website. How would you integrate into an existing website?
So that's an excellent question. The question was, how do we integrate with a customer's existing website? And one tool we're looking at for that is everything you saw was contained within a box, and that box will be embeddable just like a YouTube video. So they can just plop it on their site. One of the things we don't do, and we've had some feedback on, is the fact that we don't describe the services. So we kind of expect that there be a complimentary site that explains everything. Some businesses have actually told us that they don't want customers to come and book an appointment as a first-time customer. They have to be a repeat customer to use Booker. And that's where user account restrictions would come in. So there would be definitely a need to integrate with a business's website. And one of the things we kind of hope that our graphic designer will love is the fact that he will get the opportunity to make websites for those companies. So.
I noticed on your little scroll down that you have the option for the number of people associated with a particular time. Do you have a variable? Because a lot of the companies will have different numbers of staff people on at given times.
So there's two mechanisms there. One, what you saw was the capacity for service. So think of that like giving a 3-person personal training session versus a 1-person haircut, right? So you have these two types of ideas, the services that you can have one staff member to many customer ratio, but when you take care, when you saw the individual staff or facilities, you saw the business hours or custom hours, and when you start doing that, you know how many facilities or staff is available for that particular service, so that we know the capacity limits. And actually, it's a really interesting problem when you get into dealing with all of those ratios, because it's actually an NP complete math problem, and if you don't know what that is, it means it's unsolvable. But we can get to a reasonable approximation, and that's actually sort of our secret sauce. We don't have a patentable IP. We have a what's known as a trade secret. It's like the Coca-Cola recipe. Our algorithm for deciding how and when an appointment gets mapped to facilities is our personal private, have to sign an NDA to get to.
So is there an option for changing staff amounts throughout the day?
By controlling a person's work schedule, yes. So you put in their work schedule and you understand when it's available.
All right, we're going to have to stop.
Schedule every individual.
We got lots of questions.
We're going to stop there. You can talk to her afterwards during that work. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I've got a question. How many people are here at A2NewTech for the first time? Fantastic. So all the people who didn't raise their hand, make sure that you interact with the people who do. Following this is a chance to talk to everyone, find out about what they're doing, what they're working on. How many are students? Also cool. Also cool. All right. And while you're just getting ready, one other, for those of you who know, as I said earlier, I work for Tech Transfer. And November 17th, we are going to bring Brad Feld and Jason Mendelson here. For those of you who don't know, they are venture capitalists with the Foundry Group in Boulder. They just released a new book called Venture Deals, which is the one they'll be pitching. So that will be held at the law school, which is right next door, just due west of here. It'll be a public talk, and right now it's scheduled for noon. A lot of this subject to change. Stuff will go out, but that will be November 17th. That would be a Thursday at noon.
What's that? Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is my first time here. Thank you for having me.
I didn't introduce you. This is Jerry.
Oh, okay. So, my name's Jerry. Over the last couple of years, my friends and I have been on what I'll call an internet startup adventure in Detroit, I would say. I moved here coming up on 3 years ago from San Francisco and Brooklyn, where my friends and I were heavily involved in that kind of traditional left and right coast internet startup scene, and did the whole thing of, you know, creating and coding 24 hours a day and raising the money from the VCs and stuff, and was looking for a new approach on how to build software that also had story components, and that was maybe also, socially conscious isn't the right word, but wasn't afraid to tackle weird problems or social issues. So when I moved to the city, of course it looks like this is down. How many of you guys have heard of Loveland before at all? We've been around the block a little bit, and we're kind of inventors. So as I tell the story, I also want to ask you a question at the end, because as happens, you don't always know what it is that you're doing. You just feel like there's something important about what you're doing, and I think we've hit on some really interesting concepts and technologies. Long story short, we started out as a micro real estate company. Basically meant that we sold square inches of land to people in Detroit. We bought a vacant lot for $500 at an auction, and we parceled it into 10,000 square inches, 9 by 9 feet. And we invited people to invest in it. So it was $1 a square inch. You could become an investor in the microhood. And that gave you the privilege to be able to visit the property and create on it physically, or to log into the intranet and meet your neighbors in the microhood and tell stories about your land and whatnot. And this is an idea kind of inspired by business model-wise, micropayments, kind of micropayments for virtual goods, kind of like you'd find in a video game or like a farm bill, but attached to a very real-life thing. And to kind of take on issues of trying to figure out what's going on with crowdfunding and with the possibility of like massively multiplayer co-ownership of stuff. And as we started working on that idea, we built out a pretty cool interactive mapping system to manage it. So essentially, you zoom into your microhood and you can see the place, and you can see in context who all your neighbors are, and mouse over and see their names and click through and get all this data and tell stories in the map. And as we were working on it, we realized that there's really no difference between an inch and a house or a city block except scale. And like one of the cool things with the internet is it just really doesn't give a shit about scale. It might as well be the same thing. It's just a matter of zooming. So then we started thinking about, okay, people have kind of responded to this idea, and it's gotten us into all sorts of interesting relationships and conversations with people. Like, who are these crazy people that are, selling vacant land in Detroit by the inch, and what are they all about, and where are they coming from? And I think a lot of people were surprised to find out they were actually pretty cool and at least kind of intelligent, I think, like human, or not. We like to have fun, but we're not jokesters. We kind of balance the fun and the serious. And what we've gotten into from there is scaling up the microhood mapping really to city scale. So we started to import real life geographic and location-based data about neighborhoods, land parcels. So we've got these interactive maps of the city now where you can essentially zoom into a neighborhood in Detroit. And in some cases, you can see what projects are happening there. You can click on a project. You can put money into the project, kind of like a location-based Kickstarter. And you can also see different kind of data sets. And I'm long-winded, so I'm going to jump to the money shot of what we're doing right now. Oh crap, this is Explorer, which doesn't have the canvas text I need. Is there, can I pull up Firefox? I got a touch screen and an Explorer. Oh my God. Sorry. I should have noticed that, but it never crosses my mind. Okay. So when we bought our first property for the microhoods, we bought it at the tax foreclosure auction in 2009. In that year, the auction was actually held offline. You had to go in person to this thing, and it was this awful multi-day thing where you had to sit through hours and hours of stuff to find out, what you could get and if you got it. And last year it came online for the first time, but the process was horribly dark. Really what the county does is they put a PDF of just the most ungodly format in the world on their website, and you download this phone book of tens of thousands of properties, no spatial context. The best you can do, if you're just a regular dude, is to kind of Google, search for your street name, if you even know how to do, Apple F or shit, Control F to even look inside of it. And it was just awesome. It felt wrong. It felt like technically wrong, felt morally wrong, just felt like, honestly, it's funny, but it's like, it's real. And so this year, what we've got going online right now that we're excited about, and we're focused on actively developing this out, is a site called Why Don't We Own This? And essentially what we did is, we took the time to crack through these PDFs and lousy spreadsheets and stuff we could piece together, and we've used our technology that we started building for the microhoods to map out all of the properties that are up for auction currently. And this auction is happening right now. And so essentially, you click down to a zip code in the city, and we've got listed, every property up here with its opening bid. And I should note, because these prices are kind of high, these bids are for the last few years of back taxes. At the end of October, every property that does not sell drops down to a $500 opening bid, and usually only about 20% of those sell. So every year in Detroit, just all this stuff gets left behind. And nobody knows how to deal with it, usually except the speculators or people that professionally buy these things up and hope to profit from it. So the way this works, easy to get down in the context of your area, especially if you're in the neighborhood, you know your neighborhood. And underneath here is our parcel-based map that we drew out from the inches with all the properties up for auction, along with street view and all of the information that we can find about it, with social features. I'm not logged in, but we want to encourage conversation about what's happening inside of the city here for scenarios where somebody might have an idea for a place, somebody might live in the neighborhood and say, oh, that place is no good, or like, no stupid young artists come in here to do, that BS stuff, whatever. Important stuff for, these conversations. And, or I live here. Let's see. And what we've been doing too, which I think is an interesting part on this, is that the county uses this auction service called Bid for Assets. It's like they're nationwide. They just use them as their service for doing the clocks on when bids are open or not. And it's awful because none of it's aggregated into anything you could understand. So every property has its own page or whatnot. So we wrote a little bot army that's like hitting the county site like I don't even know how many times, frequently, and is pulling out these live updates for the auction. And again, this stuff is all in progress. Basically, like our first service is like this real-time bid discovery. As soon as the property gets a bid on it, it shows you what the bid currently is on it, and when there's a winner, it shows you who the winner is. And so now we're in the process of making this clear, like who's buying all this land in the city, et cetera. And just trying to get it out that there are alternative ways to, first off, understand what's around you land-wise. I mean, you guys are familiar with the situation in Detroit, I'm sure, but it's just one of these things that comes to mind because in every neighborhood, no matter how nice, there's a busted-out house or just like an empty field, and it's like, it doesn't even enter your consciousness for a lot of people to figure out that you actually could find out who's responsible for that. You could ask them, and you could use it. You could talk to the city about these things. And so a lot of what we're trying to do is bring this culture of like knowing that the internet has these magical powers that aren't super nerdy, that can put a city online and actually help solve really hard problems that like people think Detroit is intractable in some way, and I don't think it is. So out of this, check out the site, end of October, is when the $500 properties come up. And what we're going to do alongside that, which this is one of these questions, because a lot of times we don't really know what these things mean. They just seem like important things to offer, like there's something there, but how to make money from it and how to do it right. We're partnering with a friend to do this thing called the Land Bank, which is essentially like crowdfunded properties. So we'll watch the auction, and if you want to donate into a land bank, but like more new school kind of land bank, we'll wait till the end and nobody's bidding on properties. We'll aggregate these properties, and then collectively we'll come up with the best use for it. That might mean turning it over to a neighbor, or turning it over to a community development corporation, or it might mean somebody's just got a really great idea and people think, you know, that should happen. So yeah, where you find Loveland, you'll find interactive city mapping, crowdfunding stuff. And our mantra is kind of like SimCity Detroit. And at this point, we've gotten pretty damn good at, I call them our balloon animals. You know, we've got like balloon animals for crowdfunding and balloon animals for interactive mapping, and kind of like, we've gotten pretty good at twisting them into any shape quickly. You know, so it's like if you need something visualized or something made interactive like that, or you need, you know, you want to have some massive, you know, fundraising thing, we're pretty good at going like, is that what you need? And popping it out. And currently we're making money that way, handing out balloon animals to people that need something shaped. Sorry, I'm kind of long-winded.
Well, just jump to questions.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
First of all, I'm impressed with your progress over the past, like, probably year and a half or so since I first came with that, heard the idea. But where are you working out of these days, and are you going to continue to try and do this as like your full-time gig?
Yeah, no, this has been our full-time. I mean, we're kind of crazy. I mean, we literally, for about the first year, we made money off the inch sales, like exclusively. Like we were living off of the land in like the weirdest way.
Grow a microfruit?
Yes. And we have, you know, we've been fortunate. One of my experiences before starting this project was I was just really not about traditional equity investors because of the influence that some people had over us in the past, which is kind of what leads to the inch investing and this kind of like more spiritual equity, or like kind of going back to a patron system, kind of like in the arts, you know, but working in technology that way. And we're fortunate to have some people that are fans of our works that help us out, kind of as patrons. We do have one pretty nice angel investor, and we're looking for more on that. So we do this full time. It's great. We're like professional Kickstarters. You know, we're like, we got to raise $500 for rent in 2 weeks. Sell some damn inches, you know, or whatever. You know, whatever. Make another balloon animal. It's not. Yeah, we have. There's 2 of us full time living in Detroit, and then we have a programmer that works full time who just moved from San Francisco to Portland. So he telecommutes to Detroit every day. He stares at Detroit like nonstop. It's pretty funny, and he comes here a bunch. But yeah, so we're full time, and we're definitely looking to grow the staff because we have more work than we can handle, and honestly, we have more like demand than we can handle. The tricky part for us is that it's not that we don't want to sell out. We want to make money and give people things that they want, but clearly we're kind of independently minded. I mean, frankly, a lot of groups in the city that should be paying us for the work that we're doing, like the county stuff and the auction maps and stuff like that. I think at this point still we tend to freak them out more because people get scared of transparency and stuff. Sometimes, and they do, and you know, unfortunately, sometimes there's also like cultural aspects where it's like, I mean, Detroit's where I live now. I've been there, you know, almost 3 years. It's like my home, but sometimes people are like, "Oh, look at this new guy," you know, don't get paid money, but yeah, it's a long way of saying, yeah, we work on it full time and we want to keep growing and improving it for sure.
Would you be interested in marketing the backbone infrastructure that you have and the data to groups of people who simply want to invest for pecuniary purposes? And specifically the market in Detroit, and I know investors there right now who are attending these auctions and who are buying at the tax auctions and the large liquidations that the lenders are having right now. They're buying hundreds of properties at a time, and they're letting a certain number of them just go right back to the county for real estate auction, but they're keeping the ones that they know can cash flow. And what they're doing is pooling together investors. The problem is they have a very old paradigm or a 20th century model for pooling investors, which is you bring your $5,000 in and you're investing in a pool of property. They're not actually leveraging the technology by which someone like me could come in and look at a particular property and say, I'll put 50 on that property, I want to put 100 on this one. This one, I've driven by and I think it's even better, I want to put 250 in the pot on that particular property.
Right.
Even after the purchase is made. And what happens then is those particular investments become an equity that can be traded on a particular market, and you see that go up and down. And right across the hall, I mean, what we have is a casino where people are, likewise, people would be gambling on property, and they're going to play the nickel slot machine a lot more than they're going to pay $5,000 or $10,000 for one piece of property that they then have that liability. But if you match what you have, the technology, with a legitimate management company, then you could do that wide scale monetization of the potential people out there that want to invest in a small level and really want to play almost for the game aspect of it, even so much for the money.
I think we just need help to see how to do stuff like that.
I've got to contact you in Detroit. That's what you're doing.
We treat everything like a children's book almost, like that's how I like view the world. It's like somebody's like, this problem's just way too complex, you know, or you could never like figure out how to do anything with like all the issues involved in land and everything else in the city. And it's like, let's just be, be dumbass isn't right, but like just start over. It's like, okay, it's all inches, okay? There's shapes, and there's values attached to these shapes, and people can do things with the shapes, you know, whatever. And that's like, also one of the things too, so I'm interested in hearing more ideas like that, is we could definitely commercialize a lot better. You know, it doesn't come to our mind that often, but it needs to, because we've crossed that threshold from like when we started. It was like, this was like a cool, interesting thing we were doing, and now it feels like it's important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
had
like,
lunch with the guy six months ago, and I just pulled it up on the calendar, the one who's actually managing and buying these pools of properties and doing a 50% ROI per year. It's just phenomenal.
Okay, I think we're just going to have to cut it off there because we're out of time. Thank you all for attending. See you next month. Yay, rock.